Stream It. This is episode 5 now. Today we have Amazon's The Boys. I have not seen, but they have. Heard it's really good. Trailer looks good. Then we're going to talk about the show Arrested Development, which has been on and off for like over 10 years now, so that's pretty interesting. And then we just have some streaming service news and a trailer from Disney Plus coming out soon. But before we dive into that, I'm curious. It's November now. When do you guys start watching Christmas shows and movies? I know it's a hot topic.
Yeah, I know. I never knew this was a topic, but Twitter will start anything, turn anything into a topic.
Yeah, that's true.
Go ahead.
Well, I feel like Christmas music can. Some people start listening around.
Okay, now
right
what's
after
some
Halloween.
people? What about you?
I might have put a song on the other day.
Yeah, in the office.
That was trying to get a rise, though. I mean, as far as watching TV goes, or Christmas stuff, I might even put on the Halloween one,
Nightmare
Nightmare Before Christmas. I might watch that right at the end of October.
Well,
that could be
that's a debate in into itself.
right.
Is that a Halloween or a Christmas movie?
Well,
I've always actually only watched it in December, never October.
oh, see, I always watch it in October, but I'm like, it's kind of almost Christmas time too. So I guess that would be sort of a jumping off point, but I'm probably waiting until after Thanksgiving myself. We put the tree up, get the tunes going, like that first weekend after Thanksgiving, and that's when I'd probably put on
Yeah.
the Grinch first.
I think no one.
Elf.
I go head over heels into the Christmas spirit. You've witnessed it.
Sure.
I love it. But let's not forget about Thanksgiving.
Right.
Let's give Thanksgiving its due.
True.
So, I'm going to say same thing, right?
That first weekend.
First weekend,
Black
and
Friday.
then I'm not a Black Friday fan, but I would say it's building up steam, and I am in full sprint by December 1st.
Sure. What about you?
Okay. I think like week of Thanksgiving, just start.
Oh,
Some specials are on, I would say.
Yeah.
You have the Rose Bowl parade, which, oh no, that's later. The Macy's parade has Santa.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, all right,
Yeah.
let's kick this off.
Sure.
Because there's no music for Thanksgiving. So you've got to
Right.
listen to something.
True.
And it can't just be normal music.
Right.
Happy holidays.
It's a kickoff to the holidays. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple songs that are like "Let It Snow," "Happy Holidays." They all work.
There's a bunch of songs that are only played around Christmas time. Let It Snow is one. Baby It's Cold Outside. Don't mention Christmas, but they're looked at as Christmas songs.
So you could fire those up the week of while you're peeling potatoes.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what you were playing the other day, right? It's the holiday season.
That's a good one. I wish I was
That's a
there
great
for
one.
that.
I was just sitting in my office and I'm like, what is going on?
It's a good jam.
But so I'd say, it's November 6th right now? 2 more weeks so you can really start.
Yeah.
Oh,
Give
definitely.
it 2 weeks.
Right. Once Spotify starts putting up the holiday playlist, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I want to
A
hear
bunch
that.
were just released. Like artists just released my
Oh.
Christmas album is out. Like
Yeah, I saw
last
that.
week.
So yeah, that'll get me going.
What? Didn't someone from Glee? You're a
Yeah,
huge
that's,
Gleek.
That's what I was referring to as Leah Michelle. I didn't know if you guys would know.
Wait,
who
are
that
you a
was.
Gleek?
I've seen some of it, but I
I've
never
seen
watched
most of it.
I've seen performances, but not
Future
like.
stream it.
Yeah, maybe I'll
You could ask the questions.
catch up. Yeah,
Or yeah, catch
Oh
up.
my!
I don't know if I
goodness.
have. I don't know if
I'm
I have the
so
time.
excited.
I don't know if I have the time to catch up. Isn't it like?
You just gotta watch the first 2. I would argue.
Okay.
I think I've seen them all.
Oh yeah, me too.
Did it? How many seasons are there?
There was 7. It was kind of one of those shows that I loved it, but I could admit they should have stopped.
So did they do the some of the people graduate and move on?
Season 4 to the rest of it was
All new
most
people?
of them were new people came into high school. Some were still left, but Rachel and the big ones all graduated.
I watched
season
up
3.
until then.
Yep, that's all you need to see.
Yeah, I didn't. If there was more, I didn't see it. Once Finn, Rachel, all those guys were gone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Future episode of Stream It. This is exciting.
what an intro!
All right, well, we can jump into The Boys now, which is an Amazon Prime show. It has 1 season so far, but I think the second trailer's out.
Ooh.
I saw it when I was doing research for this.
I didn't know that.
I'd want
Yeah.
to check that out.
So I'll play the trailer for the first season to refresh your memory and to just
Love it.
for myself.
The greatest superhero team the world's ever seen. The Seven.
Is there anything I can help you with?
I'm not gonna piss you about, Huey. I heard what happened to Robin. You ain't alone, son. Soups lose hundreds of people each year to collateral damage.
I can't stop. I can't stop.
They were my business on the front page.
That's where me and the boys are coming.
I never wanted to ever be over.
Spank the when they get out of line. Can you control her, please? We got a job to do.
I'm invincible, stupid.
I'm the world's greatest superhero. I can do whatever the I want. We're on the verge of nailing these wankers. I'm done. Oi, what's Sporty Spice up to? Who? Sporty Spice, what's she up to? I don't know. And baby, not even page 6 of the Daily Mail. You see, when they're apart, they're absolute rubbish. But you put them together, they're the goddamn icicles. The point is, we need each other in the water.
Jesus, he gives the worst pep talks.
He really does.
I can't do this.
You just pulled the
We're the Seven, Earth's most mighty mother.
Please, 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 no, please.
Pardon my French.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd never seen the trailer.
There's like I can't believe there's that much in there, like in the show. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had never like really heard of it until you guys started talking about it, and I'd never seen anything until I looked it up for this. And immediately, like after the first time I watched it, I was like, "How is this not bigger? Like this
Yeah.
looks awesome."
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
It was always something that Amazon threw in your face if you just went to buy like batteries.
Oh
And
yeah.
I had never seen it, but you told me to watch
Yeah, I was
it.
watching another Prime series, and it was like at the beginning, the little like commercial thing, and it was that, and I was like, "Oh, it looks like kind of funny, kind of intense, kind of like interesting at least." So we ended up watching it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was different, you know, something unique that was ended up being really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a twist on the superhero genre.
It reminded me of like the Deadpool kind of vibe, where it's like anti-hero, kind
Yes.
of dark humor.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, so those of you watching, if it is a little bit more on the R-rated side, there's
Yes.
some questionable content and some more adult language. But if you can get past that, and you're an of-age person, then I would definitely check it out. But basically, yeah, the superheroes aren't necessarily good guys.
You like one of them? I
Yeah,
think out of the
right.
7, that's
Right.
what. So that they say it in the trailer, but it's basically a core. It's almost like a
It's like a division of the military almost. They're
right.
Just like
And they have the 7 who each have their own specific thing, and if you're a super, that's what they call them, obviously, and but you're just not. You want to be a part of it. You try to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
it's like this whole organization that they do
Yeah.
like fight crime, but it's almost like as a service to people rather and like they get paid and stuff rather than just out of the
Yeah.
goodness of being a hero.
I would say you like 1, you dislike 4 or 5, and then 1 is just kind of a mystery. I'd say Black Noir is kind of a mystery.
Oh yeah.
But
It's not like they're inherently bad, but they're not inherently good either.
Right.
They're just the part of this group that will carry out missions and like kind of be saviors, but it's also kind of like business oriented. So they're like they bring film crews with them, and they try to make themselves look good and cool and
Yeah.
powerful. And it's, you saw, and no spoilers, it's right in the trailer, like Huey the main character gets involved because A-Train, the speedster, runs right through his girlfriend on the street, and like she dies. And so it's not like they're like these great people, they're kind of just
And you don't have to
Special.
say spoiler alert. It's the first scene of the series.
true.
And,
True. But if you haven't seen it yet,
but it is a perfect introduction because then you're sitting there, you're watching, and you're like, it happens, and they don't
address it.
They,
Yeah.
no, they don't like try and make it cheesy or anything. They just show it to you. They show what it would look
It's
like.
actually really cool.
Yeah,
like
if someone-
the
CGI and
Yeah.
everything. But that's from right there, you're like, okay, this is going to be different
Yeah.
than
it's a
other
show
shows.
too. If you just turned on and were like, oh, it's like watch this. The first 2 minutes, you're hooked.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of that, and you're like, wow, where do you go from there? Your girlfriend just got obliterated, like
Totally.
right in front of you, and like he goes through the morning and all this stuff, and eventually hooks up with the boys, and their kind of mission is to kind of
Eradicate.
expose and show that the superheroes actually aren't good, or they're corrupt, and it's bad to have them rather than good.
Yeah, it's such a different angle than because there's one Highlander, he's the Captain America type, and he's the world's greatest superhero. But as you really get to know him, you're like, wow, I think I hate this one the most.
Yeah, it's a really good question on like morality and like just they have all this power, and like it's like the Spider-Man thing, with great power comes great responsibility, right? But like seriously, it's an opposite take on how they can become corrupt with it and take advantage of people because of their abilities and stuff. So it definitely makes you think, and gives you a different perspective on that kind of thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It seems like it's almost like obviously exaggerated, but almost like a realistic take on like if there was superheroes in the world, it wouldn't be as perfect as like the Avengers. Like no one ever
Right.
gets hurt unless they want you to get hurt. It would probably be like that.
Yeah.
Like if there's someone who can't slow down,
Right.
someone gets in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it would be like.
Yeah, and there's a lot of infighting, like not just the snarky comments between Captain America and Iron Man. It's like
Yeah.
genuine dislike and
Yeah.
jealousy and stuff that they show within the Seven, which would be like the Avengers.
Right.
Yeah. It reminds me of like if The Incredibles 2 was like R-rated. Have
Yeah.
you seen the second one?
Yeah.
That's basically the same plot. Is like there's this family that's trying to get revenge because they blame the supers for the death of their parents.
Right.
Yeah.
But obviously this is just a step.
True. Yeah. I
Above.
mean, a little more aggressive.
Oh yeah. I was just like, as I was watching, I was like, this is The Incredibles.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, I mean, it is similar.
I'll have to, I guess, rewatch The Incredibles 2 next Wednesday or next Tuesday
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's when Disney Plus goes
Plus.
live.
All right. Are you getting it?
I was able to acquire a username and password from some family friends that have a small child.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, is this a standalone universe or is it related to any like DC or I'm assuming not Marvel, but is this like its own superhero universe?
Yeah, it's its own
completely,
thing,
yeah.
Okay.
But I think it was doing some research, like I started watching it, and Amazon's great because if you watch it on a laptop or actually anything, and you move the mouse or whatever, it
yeah.
pops up general trivia. It will tell you who's in the scene, and it is based off a series of like 50 comics.
Oh,
So it's based off a comic book series called The Boys.
oh,
Oh,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they have source material to work from.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's independent. I don't think it's DC or Marvel.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could only see it if it was being like connected to Deadpool, but even then, like.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any standout characters throughout the series?
Well, Butcher is probably the most.
He's your favorite? Why,
I don't know. Yeah, maybe favorite. Him or Huey. So he's like the one that he has a vendetta against the supers. And he's the one that kind of gets the boys together. And two of them, one is Frenchie, and the other one is
I forgot their names.
yeah.
They had all worked together previously. Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, I don't want to work with this guy again. And their families are saying, don't work with this guy. But he's also the one, he was making the Spice Girls analogy in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's the one that has the plan and the reason, and he just kind of, but you can see he's going to go off the rails eventually, or maybe. And
Yeah, he's likable because, I mean, the premise is you're rooting for the boys, not the superheroes, you know, and you're taking this idea of superheroes and kind of putting it on its head. So he's kind of the leader of that charge. So you connect with him and you're curious on how these random guys with like how they're going to take down this huge superpower, you know, entity. So I think that's why Butcher's kind of like the big guy, and Huey's the one with that you're like seeing the story through. But I like Starlight. She is one of the new superheroes that joins the Seven. And she's kind of grown up thinking that the Seven is like the best and like they're all great and it's superhero, it's helping people. She's like that like moral compass in the show. And she gets into the Seven because she's very powerful and like awesome, and it's not what she expects. And so she goes through a whole adjustment of trying to find out who she is, knowing that like kind of her world got turned upside down after seeing what she believed wasn't really true. So she's trying to, navigate the Seven in her own way and like the trials and tribulations that come with that. And then she goes through a change trying to, find herself and become a good superhero among the corrupt ones. So I like her story and I think she's a cool character.
Is she the blonde one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a second trailer that had more of her in it.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
she's the one when I said you like one, you dislike five,
Yeah.
and then she's the one you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
She's your classic superhero, the one
Right.
that like you're expecting, and in that sense, you're like, yeah, well, like superheroes are great, we're on board, but
she
the other ones make you want the
Yeah.
boys to win.
she questions the whole morality and why are we doing PR when we should be on like patrol. She does things like that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they use her as a pawn too. Like she's the new. They want to promote her as like this new part of the team and like all this stuff. And she's like, I don't want to be promoted. I want to help. I want to go save people and carry out missions and stuff like that. And that's all part of her kind of story, is figuring out how to handle all that.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's
it's cool. Yeah.
I didn't realize too that one of the supers is Chase Crawford, the actor. I think he's the one in all green. And he's a pretty famous actor. He was in like Gossip Girl.
Oh yeah.
That's the big one I know him from. But they
Yeah,
got a
I
pretty
didn't
good
recognize him.
cast.
He's kind of
He's one.
sleazy in the show.
Yeah, he's sleazy. He gets kind of like
But he's wrapped up in it too.
Yeah.
He was, touted as, going to be a superhero, and then he gets there and it's all this other stuff, and he kind of got to him, and he's
Right.
a little bit.
gets into like Homelander's shadow and can't really handle it.
Yeah. It ends up being making some questionable choices and stuff, and
Yeah, and he's a part of one of the things in the show where you're like, wow, this is
a lot.
R-rated, and yeah,
Oh gosh.
yeah.
So do you think it's the characters that are the strongest part, or is it the writing or the CGI? Because that looked pretty impressive too.
CGI is really great, but
I think the story is king here, as far as just the idea of flipping the superheroes on its head, and then, it seems like an impossible task to take down superheroes, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of how they're going about that. There's different like things in play on why they are this way, and like how to expose them to the public, and it's kind of this like grand mission that is just fun to go along that ride with. So I think for me the success of it is just like the characters are great, but it's a story that kind of like really gets viewers to be like, wow, like what a crazy take on this, and
Yeah.
like what a new world to see.
yeah, I think when it comes to the acting, like the guy that plays Homelander, I found myself by like episode 4 being like, I just don't like. I didn't like the guy, and I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's because he plays the evil
Yeah.
But like in public, I'm the man, but behind the scenes, I'm not.
The Captain America looking one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You're like, he's coming. You're like, I just don't like this. And I started looking up the actor, and I was like, who's this actor? And I was
Yeah.
like, getting frustrated
Any
with
good
him.
show, if you can like hate a character,
Right.
then they're doing something right. And you end up, by the end, you're like, you're kind of uneasy by him because he's got that like smile, that $1 million smile, and
It's-
you're like, I don't trust you. And then you realize that why you
Yeah,
don't
and he
trust
does.
him. He actually does a great job acting.
Yeah,
'cause
there's
you
a
start off not
Yeah.
really getting him, and you're like, wow. And then by the end, you're like, I really do. hate
Yeah,
him.
at the beginning, well, I won't say it because there's a character arc, and I don't want to really ruin it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're just like, okay, I am
And by the
done
end,
with
yeah.
him.
There's one
He's the
line in the
worst.
trailer, like when he does that little smirk. I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly
gross.
it.
And his whole thing is like, in public, he is the golden boy, but then when you see him, like in their headquarters and stuff, you're like, oh my,
Yeah.
I can't stand
And
this
they
guy.
even dive into some of his past and why he is the way it is and who he is, all that stuff. And it still makes you hate him.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Joffrey in Game of Thrones, if you have that
Right.
one
Exactly.
character that people love hating,
Right.
like to the point where you don't even like the actor,
Right.
Yeah.
you've got gold.
Exactly.
My gold standard up for that was always Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't stand her.
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
know
like,
who you're talking about.
yeah. Headmaster or whatever.
Yeah. She always wore pink.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I need to watch more Harry Potter. Let me see. Yeah, I guess also I was curious just because this is about streaming. Did you guys binge this show or was it kind of an on and off?
I binged it. I finished it probably like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you watched it faster than I did. We did like a couple shows over the course of 2 or 3 weeks.
Do you know if it came out all at once or if it was
I
like
think
a
it
weekly
was
thing?
all at once.
I think it did only because Jack Ryan just came out season 2, and that all came out 8 episodes at once.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had watched Carnival Row on Amazon, which is excellent. Hopefully a future show with that. But saw the trailer, like I was saying, at the beginning of one of those episodes, and then we were like, let's give it a shot. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Amazon is really starting to like step up its game and like match Netflix and Hulu with their original content. Because now they have,
oh yeah.
this is it has an 8.8 out of 10 on IMDb and 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I feel like for a original show is pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially the first season.
Yeah. And they have Maisel and Fleabag and Carnival Row. So I feel like they're doing really
Yeah,
well.
I would say it's right up there with those.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
The trailer immediately like piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the kind of like a action film, and like if you're
Yeah.
into that type of vibe, but there's a good story to it. So it's something different than you're not used to with like typical action like shootout type shows or movies.
Yeah.
So definitely worth it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on The Boys?
No, I definitely watch it. I went in kind of not knowing anything about it and really, really liked it.
Yeah, no, I would recommend it, and excited to see what they have to do with the second season.
Yeah, huge cliffhanger
Yeah,
at the
there's
end.
a cliffhanger.
Huge.
So
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
was wondering that too.
there's definitely more to know.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, I'll definitely check it out. You guys should too. And we'll be right back with Arrested Development. See you soon. We are back, and now we're going to talk about Arrested Development, which is a pretty classic comedy, I would consider it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it started in 2003, had 3 seasons on Fox, got canceled, and then 10 years later came back on Netflix, and is still on now, but it's kind of always been on the verge of like, it goes away for a while, and then it comes back.
Yeah.
So it's battled to stay alive.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, it's funny though. I love teen Michael Cera.
I know, it's
yeah.
like you're used to like I feel like Superbad was the big like
Yeah.
movie that put him on the screen. And I mean, anybody that watched like the original Arrested Development when it came out, you kind of maybe knew of him. But that's how I like pictured Michael Cera. And then I watched the show after that, and I was like, oh, look at it.
Yeah.
He's like pretty funny.
And it really cemented his role. I feel like as the awkward, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
feel bad for him, but he's like so wholesome. I feel like now he's just stuck ever since Arrested Development.
Yeah.
So I
good.
thought that I have the season 4 trailer.
Sure.
That's a good way to just kind of introduce to the characters and
Sounds
gives a
good.
good idea of the comedy.
Hope you know a good place to live because I. Ooh, dear Lord. Because I'm looking to make a new start. Oh, Mother of God! Dear Lord! Woo!
Excuse me?
Hello?
Dad.
Oh my God. Oh, there is kind of a girl here. Didn't say it was your cousin.
No, right.
Michael.
Joe.
Lindsay.
George Michael. Lucille. Tobias Funke. George. Maybe.
Buster.
I really love you, Tobias.
Oh, Lindsay. We've got to get you to that acting class.
Hey, I just want my son to have a job where his incompetence won't be out of place. Well, that's not a great sign.
I would love to help you. We like to pull together
Watch your
around
back.
here. No, you watch your back, mister.
Oh, my God.
I bet it's been a long time since you've seen your Sherry.
I have lupus.
This is the sign I've been waiting for.
Good luck with your night terrors. Now no one will be there to hear your screams.
Now, with this car, you might get some stares.
I'm used to a car with some stairs.
Oh man,
So good.
this show is ridiculous.
Yeah, so I've actually seen the first 3 seasons, but I haven't seen any since it came on Netflix.
Right.
I think I've seen maybe just the first one
Really?
with the banana stand.
I have seen all except the one that came out this spring or summer. And
Is that what this was?
no, this was
Oh, a new
The
one.
first Netflix.
this was the first time it was on Netflix.
Okay.
I think the one that just came out is the 3rd on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I actually forgot about it until you wrote this down, and now I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, I feel like when it first was coming on Netflix and the first season came out, I feel like I heard from a few people like, oh, it's not as good as the first few. Like, don't watch it. And I just kind of like fell for that. I was like, oh, okay. Because I had just finished watching it like the year before Netflix took it up. But now that I've seen the trailer, when I like found it for this, I was like, what were they talking about? Like, this looks just as funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first Netflix series is funny because, or interesting. They didn't, Netflix original content hadn't really taken off. It was like one of the first kind of things. So there are times I watched it and I was like, this was like 2013 or 14. I'm not sure what exactly when. And you'd watch it and you'd be like, that looks weird. And I Googled it and it was green screen. People were, the schedules couldn't match up. So people weren't like actually there at the same time and they were acting. They're supposed to be in like the same room.
Wow.
So it looked
That's a
odd.
move.
Yeah, it looked odd. So if you watch the 4th season, you'll notice it. You'll be like, what is going on? But then it was probably another 2 years or so until the 2nd season came on Netflix and Netflix had exploded and they probably were able to give everyone the money that they could.
Yeah.
And so I would say the 5th season is better than the 4th season for that reason.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
they did every episode in the 4th season from a different character's point of view, and I think it was because of scheduling.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
interesting.
But it picks right back up to its ridiculousness.
Yeah. I'd say that's my draw to it, is the comedy. We talked about how The Office is like Parks and Rec, is like, what was the other one we did?
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny, and like the comedy's kind of similar in those sitcom-y / whatever. But this one has got some really funny, subtle, like you saw in the trailer, the car handle or opening the bottle on the table, and like those little funny things. Like it's just a very ridiculous take on someone's reality and like the subtle little funny things that can happen. So that's probably what I like about it.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
Just the comedy was, it was so like different somehow than other shows.
Yeah, it's
And
like
I feel
nonchalant or like
yeah, and like a lot of like dry humor from some of the characters. Like Jason Bateman just has such like a deadpan delivery.
right, yeah.
Well, like with the vulture there. Well,
Yeah.
that's not a good sign. Just stuff like that. It's so good.
And I feel like it's called like a cult comedy. That's, I think, just like the fan base is what kept it alive. Because before I even watched it, I would always just see like screen caps and like GIFs that were like always viral on like Twitter and just Tumblr and everything.
Yeah.
And it was always just like specific moments from the show that I knew about before I even watched the show. So then when I saw it, I was like, there it is. Like, it's been around for years, and I finally saw it.
No, I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, I remember. So I watched it. I didn't watch it when it was on TV. I caught it after, actually, like on DVD. And I remember being like, I can't believe this isn't on. And I really would say, like, when I would talk about it with people, I think it's too smart. People don't get the subtle running jokes that if you didn't see season 1, episode 3, and they call it back in season 3, episode 2, you're like, some people are laughing, then other people are like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep it going.
Yeah. Well, that's good writing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Like, one of my favorite ongoing jokes that they have is Liza Minnelli's character has like vertigo. But they never they don't always like tell you every time you see her, oh, like, and remember, she has vertigo. So like, if you didn't see the first time they announced that she just got diagnosed with vertigo, you'll be confused every time you see her because she's always just like spinning and falling.
She like goes steadies herself and the best. I love that she's best friends with the mother, Lucille Bluth, and her name's Lucille, so they're calling her Lucille 1 and 2. But then at some point they switch it, and it's like Liza Minnelli's Lucille 1. And it's so great.
It's good. Do you guys have like a favorite character in that show? I think you guys have seen a little bit more than I have. So I said I like Michael Cera's like from when he was younger and stuff. But do you have a favorite?
It's hard.
Yeah, I think it's a close race between Buster and Tobias, but I think it's Tobias. Because as you go on, his whole thing is like, he always says something, and then Michael just goes, you don't hear how that sounds, do you? Because the stuff he says is so ridiculous.
Okay, you know what you do? You buy yourself a tape recorder, you just record yourself for a whole day. I think you're going to be surprised at some of your phrasing.
Butterscotch! Wanna lick?
And yeah, his whole delivery, his character, his just not knowing what he's saying is perfect.
Yeah.
I think mine is. I'm blanking on the brother's name. Who's the magician?
Job.
Job, yeah. I think Job, and even Maybe, who's the cousin. I love that her name is Maybe too. That's just so funny. But I love the relationship of Lucille and Buster. So I feel like that's my favorite dynamic of the show.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's so like the stuff they say to each other is what like romantic partners would say to each other. Like in the trailer when she's like, no one else like. I
We'll
think
take
she
care
says,
of you.
Yeah, like no one's gonna be in the house tonight to hear you scream.
Yeah.
There's
Buster is a masterclass. It's just so great. And then for him to go on, he's so funny in Veep. Like he plays Julia Louis-Dreyfus' assistant, and it's not quite the same, but it's kind of the same. He's hysterical. And then he plays Sporky in Toy Story 4.
That was him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that made sense.
I haven't seen Toy Story 4, but I know
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, so, but the Buster and Lucille thing is just so great because there's a small part in time where he starts dating Lucille too, and it's just hysterical.
So, is there a girl in your life?
Well, I would hardly call my mother a girl, but yeah, she's still very much a part of my life.
No, I mean, someone who makes you hear music.
She mostly likes talk radio.
I mean, a girl who makes you feel romantic and also who makes you hear beautiful music.
Oh my gosh. And he loses his hand to the seal. So he has a hook hand for like the rest of the show.
Oh, that was real?
Yeah. Like
and
he just has, it's different hooks every time too.
And the hysterical joke, sorry, spoiler alert, it was like 10 years ago, more.
It's fine.
He's swimming and someone on the beach screams out, "Hey, be careful, Lucille!" Because he's obsessed with his mom and this other woman named Lucille.
Right.
So they scream, "Lucille," and then the seal bites his hand off. So that's the whole joke. But that's like the stuff
Yeah, that's
that
the
doesn't like
comedy.
get picked up.
Yeah. That must be the second season. I think I've watched until the banana stand burns down.
Right.
Is that the end of the first season?
That might be like the middle of the first season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, then I've got more.
Because I think George Michael does it as like defiance in that. That's another thing.
Yeah.
His name's George Michael, like the pop singer. It's just so funny.
Oh boy.
And it only gets better from like the first season.
Yeah.
And they get so many awesome guest stars.
Right.
Like, they have huge names. I think I wrote it down. Yeah, like they have like Henry Winkler, Ben Stiller, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is on it, Charlize
Yeah.
Theron.
And they're not even like so much like a cameo. They're recurring.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Ben
wow.
Stiller plays a rival comedian to Job, who's way more successful. And Charlize Theron is actually kind of, she plays someone who, I don't know how to phrase this PC. She has a mental handicap, and Michael like falls in love with her.
Okay.
But the whole joke around it probably wouldn't pass right now. But yeah, it's so great. And then Henry Winkler's the lawyer, right?
I think he's
Yeah.
the lawyer, yeah.
Oh,
It's just so funny.
And they're all playing, like, especially Charlize Theron. And I can't remember exactly who Julia Louis-Dreyfus is, but I think for both of them, it's like roles that they only play in this show. Like, it's not usually what you see them as.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
like
yeah.
being very like funny and goofy.
Yeah,
So it's
It's
cool.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays someone that Michael thinks is staring at him and flirting with him at a bar, and she's blind.
That's right. Yeah.
But like Ron Howard does the voiceover
Yeah.
and plays a character in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
He actually becomes a bigger thing in the Netflix stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask actually. I feel like for any show, but especially sitcoms, having a narrator, you don't ever see that.
Right.
And it's like a bold choice to have one, but it really works in the show. So, like, why do you think they chose to have it? Or
I think it's the like whole.
Wasn't
It's like the writing, like to tell the story. Like I don't know. It
what was
totally
the show,
works.
The like 70s show. The kid.
Andy Griffith Show when he was in Andy Griffith Show. That's the Happy Days.
Nope. I don't know. I forget. But I feel like there's maybe like other sitcom-y type shows have done. Some
It's
similar
like
things.
a callback to like the
Yeah.
70s, 80s sitcom.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was.
No,
that's a
now that
take
you're
on
saying that, I can. Wonder Years.
Wonder Years. Yeah.
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 Oh,
You
there's
know how
one
the
of that.
Wonder Years, the kid kind of like says.
He tells his own. He tells his own life story. It's him grown up.
Yeah.
they've started to do that a lot. I feel like where the older version is
Right,
doing for
yeah.
the, like.
So that's I was thinking it might have been like
Yeah.
kind of a takeoff of the Wonder Years to be like, here's kind of the narration of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad you haven't seen more because all these like standout moments that you listed and the constant like running jokes are just so perfectly written and yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot to look forward to for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess actually that's kind of what Ron Howard's narration kind of does is like it breaks the fourth wall and like sometimes will like be the reminder of something, but always in like a funny way. So like if like a character says, for instance, like Tobias dresses up as basically Mrs. Doubtfire for a long series of episodes, but everyone knows it's him, but he doesn't think anyone in the house knows that it's him. So he keeps going with it and everyone else just lets him. But I think there's a few times where like he'll show up and like Ron Howard will come over and be like, because he's Mrs. Featherbottom, like he'll just like kind of fill in like the
Yeah. And Tobias wants to be an actor.
Oh yeah. That's in the first season.
And he tries out for the Blue Man Group. So like,
Oh god.
they're just like walking around the house doing whatever, and they like take something out of the fridge and it just has blue paint smeared all over it because he just is constantly blue because he is just waiting for the call to fill in.
Oh god.
It's so great.
Yeah, I feel like what we said for It's Always Sunny, it's one of those shows where like in the writer's room they must have been like, what if this happened? And
Yeah.
everyone was like,
Yeah,
yep,
that's
and wrote it
right.
down and it made the script.
One thing they did that's so funny, in the 3rd season when they're like going to get canceled, and they know it and everything, they're based out of California. Like the show takes place in California. So they start saying, like, I have to go down to the OC. And all the characters say, don't say that. Because they were getting killed in the ratings by the OC. Which is weird because it was the same network, but that was way more popular and they must have been getting pushed out of their slot or something.
Oh, God.
So they consistently say the OC and they're always like, don't say that. So it's like being smart, like,
Yeah.
we're going to get canceled because of this show, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
just going to throw it right back in their face.
Was this something that, do you know if, was it a lot of the actors' like first big thing, like Jason Bateman? Or...
I don't know about Jason Bateman. I think Jason Bateman was like a child actor. So I think he had been around for a while.
He's in a lot of comedies.
Yeah. And then, but like Michael Cera, the timeline-wise, like Superbad was 07. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was like 06.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some things you'd be like, oh, wow, that's Michael Cera. But this was like, and then.
I don't remember seeing him in anything before that one.
What's his name? Will Arnett. This was his first thing, I think. Who plays Job?
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
Tony Hale, who's Buster. It's his.
Because I wonder if that's why it like kind of had the resurgence a few years after, is because people like I feel like especially Michael Cera, he kind of became a huge thing in the mid 2000s, so people probably went back to the show that like these people who were now famous were the stars of.
Right, and I think Netflix must have just been like, this show is still getting so much. They must have been like, we want to try this original series thing, because it's funny, they at the beginning of the episodes, I don't know if they still do it, but it would pop up and it'd say Arrested Development, a Netflix semi-original series.
Semi-original.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who else. I think the dad, Jeffrey Tambor, was in stuff before, and I think the older actors were in stuff, and yeah, so good.
Yeah.
It like makes talking about it makes me like
I want to go back to it.
I could totally watch the whole thing again.
Yeah.
But I can't. I have too much work to do.
Got the shows to focus on for this.
Yeah. No rewatching allowed.
I actually started Friday Night Lights.
Oh,
really?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like halfway through the first season.
What do you think?
I really like it. I liked Matt a lot.
Matt Saracen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now, at first, I didn't understand when you guys said you liked Tim Riggins. The first few episodes, I was like,
right, yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
But now I really like it.
Yeah,
he keeps getting better.
Yeah, it just keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's good though, yeah.
So the show is working.
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully for you guys too. Keep tuning in.
All right. Any final questions about Arrested Development or thoughts?
No, just
No?
fired up.
Yeah. It's so good, so well written. This is one where the best thing is the writing.
Oh,
Like when
yeah.
you talk about what's the best thing of shows,
yeah.
this is the writing.
I think that it like loses its popularity when compared to like The Office and stuff, because that's still so high up there. But yeah, it's definitely underrated in its writing and delivery. All right, so we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll have some streaming service news and a quick trailer to watch. Welcome back. We have some very new news, actually, regarding streaming services. Yesterday, the NBA launched a streaming service, which I was not expecting when I typed in streaming services.
Yeah.
Why not? Jump in.
They've had League Pass, which is like the whole, if you live in Massachusetts, but you're like a Bulls fan, you do it to watch their games.
Yeah.
But what you wrote here, when I read this, I was like, wait, this is something different than I want to look at it. I don't know if I'd pay for it, but It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like
Worth a free trial.
What is it? NFL Game Pass?
Yeah.
It's like that, but cheaper. It looks like.
Yeah, Game Pass is pretty expensive.
Yeah, and I don't even know to get it for like. There's like a preseason one that you can get for free, I think, but to buy it for the whole season is a little bit more than what we're looking at here. So
it seems like it's a really good idea for people who like have ditched cable altogether and just have like the smart TVs.
Yeah.
Because they have no way of watching sports. Like I know my dad, we only have one TV in the house that has like live TV now. So he has to use that one TV whenever like the football for the Patriots. So I think it's a good idea for people who just have like apps and
I think that's just the way it's going to trend.
It's a customized show lineup or channel lineup. Where it's like I want this, I want sports, I want, so yeah, that's pretty cool if you're NBA fans out there.
Yeah, it'll have, I mean, and everything they have is live games and so much more from what I was reading about, so.
What's it, do you know what it's called?
I think when I looked it up, it was just NBA streaming service.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard it at all.
Oh, yeah, me either.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I don't know what the name is.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, that is neat. I like the past programming. It would be cool if they like started uploading, if you're an NBA fan, like old games, and it's like you can watch those games from like when you were a kid or Michael Jordan, stuff like that.
Or even if like I wanted to watch the Celtics game from like last night.
Right,
just,
yeah.
Like, pull it up and be like, oh, sweet.
Exactly, yeah, you
I
just miss
missed
it. Yeah.
And
in your case, a Rockets game.
Yeah.
And in big news too, Disney Plus comes out in a week, I think.
Less than a week.
Less than a week, yeah.
Filming this on a Wednesday. Comes out on Tuesday.
Nice.
Perfect. And I have another trailer from a show called The Imagineering Story, which I thought you'd be interested in as a big fan of Disney.
My eyebrows went up.
Yeah. It's a behind-the-scenes look into how the parks operate.
Oh, cool.
Which I think is a great use of the streaming service. They have a lot of shows like that coming out.
Promote themselves from
within.
There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward. We're always exploring and experimenting. We call it Imagineering.
Walt set a standard early on with the Imagineers. There was a standard that surprised people, so that they left thinking, wow, how did Disney do that?
This is a dream that started in Anaheim that's traveled the world.
We've come a long way through the years, haven't we? Unbelievable.
There's such a pride in being able to create a place that brings that much happiness to people.
Anytime you take people behind the scenes, you see the imperfections, the trial and error, or the experimentation.
Behind all of these curtains are different projects going on. This is the cutting edge of the technology of Imagineering.
I've heard about it. Is it true? There is this underground city, and I wonder what's down there.
I don't know if you've ever walked through the hallways of a Star Destroyer before.
We're in the inner sanctum of the Disneyland Matterhorn. Nobody ever gets the chance to see us, only a special few.
That looks awesome.
It does look awesome. Looks like a lot of that was Disneyland, not Disney World.
Oh.
Do you have a problem with that?
The expert.
Yeah. Just saying. I'm a Disney World guy. Florida versus California.
3 more hours on a plane. What's the big deal?
Disney World is a lot bigger though,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is. That's what, the parks and all the, resorts. Disneyland, I think, is just the one park.
Yeah. I think they have to remove something to add something, like every time.
Yeah. They're at capacity.
Yeah.
But no, that looks so cool. Behind the scenes, like underground tunnels under Disney, like that's so neat. I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, and they have so many other shows, it looks like, kind of like that are going to be on the service, which I feel like is like one of the coolest things about Disney Plus will be that you can't really watch anything like that anywhere else unless it's like a movie that like they chose to release, but they haven't really.
Yeah, I think you might have had to rent the like Pixar story.
Yeah.
The documentary, which is awesome.
Which
really cool.
that trailer said the same woman is doing this, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I would be very interested in seeing that. That's really cool.
As someone who hasn't really been to Disney,
I
feel
neither.
like it'll feel like
hopefully
I'm at
soon,
Disney.
right?
Hopefully, that's what my parents say.
Oh man, but yeah, that's pretty cool behind the scenes.
Yeah, it'll be amazing just to see like they say the trial and error and like how they come up with it. It's just crazy.
Especially the Avatar world.
Yeah,
that'll be really cool to see how they recreated that in like Star Wars.
Yeah. It's wild.
Pretty cool. Do you guys have something you're most excited to see on Disney Plus?
I would say just The Mandalorian because I think that might be like one of the first original things. But I'm excited when the Marvel stuff starts coming out. That'll be.
That's true.
I'm more of a Marvel fan than a Star Wars fan.
I think I'm just excited to have the like just the archive of movies and stuff.
Library.
Like the library, because when I was younger, we would collect DVDs of things, and you try to have like a big DVD collection, and then it turned into like having like a big like iTunes account with like different movies to pull from. But now in the streaming world, this is like the next big thing, and if you can have all the Pixar and even those old Disney classics, like that's kind of sweet.
Yeah,
So.
now that you're an uncle, you can be like, oh yeah,
Uncle,
you want to watch the Black Cauldron? Let's pull it
Fire
up.
I saw that people started to. I think there's a country that already has it.
Oh, come on.
And I know, right?
What?
So
And
YouTubers, like there's already YouTube videos that are like, how long would it take you to watch everything on Disney Plus? I didn't watch the video. I was like, probably a long time.
Yeah.
They're releasing like thousands of things.
Yeah. God, it's probably millions
I mean, it's
of
not
hours.
about watching everything. It's about picking a favorite.
And they have little icons too, like how Netflix does for like each user. But they have like everything owned by Disney to like pick what your icon is.
That's neat.
Which I'm excited for, which is like the dumbest part of it. But
who am I gonna be?
I'm Mike Wazowski.
Yeah.
You're more of a Sully to me.
Yeah, no. Me too.
Yeah, you're right.
He seemed like a bigger name.
All
All right.
I think that wraps it up for this episode.
Next time we meet, we'll be able to talk about our experience with Disney Plus if you guys get it.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna get it.
I think I'm gonna pre-order it this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go half and half with somebody.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
The year pass.
Good.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Gotta be smart about it.
I'm
Gotta
just gonna
cheat the
keep
system.
keep banking on these people with young children.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week on the next episode of Stream It.
Adios.